What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the series on the giant Walmart pumpkin, and we've ran into some issues this week, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Out here just doing some morning watering. I did some pinpoint watering just with a shower setting on a normal handheld garden hose nozzle, and now just getting a good even soak with the oscillating sander. Not real sophisticated here on my pumpkin, but for the most part the pumpkin's looking all right out here. Got some leaves, some older leaves dying. I think that's kind of expected, but it does seem a little bit early. My biggest concern right now, and hopefully it can pick it up, is definitely the change in the color of these pumpkin leaves and the older ones there in the back. Definitely a lot lighter, and I first attributed it to nitrogen deficiency, and I started hitting them with a lot of fast-acting nitrogen, and then I went ahead and supported that with some slow release nitrogen just so it would be there in the soil. I thought it might be using quite a bit, but the more I get into it, the more I think that it's probably just heat stress. Not a lot of change. This did start like about a week ago. You can probably see on some of these leaves as that sprinkler goes back, it's dying around the edges, right around here. And like I said, I was thinking nitrogen. Something's wrong with the plant. It's telling me that, but I think it's just the heat stress. And the reason being for that is we're in a drought right now. Definitely in my portion of Missouri, there's just not a lot of water. I've let the oscillating sprinkler there run in the evening times when the sun goes down, so I'm not just losing a ton of water for about an hour, and that's getting me good and evenly soaked through the soil, but it just doesn't seem to be the trick. I've been fertilizing. I've added some stuff into my fertilizer. I've tried to fortify it all the way around a little more evenly, but it's just still having issues, and the heat's about the only thing that I can attribute that to. Plus, it's in some of this newer growth vines here, some of the last that was to develop. So I'm thinking, it's probably those younger leaves out into my secondaries there that are a little weaker than some of those older leaves. Not got as much thick cell walls in that leaf. But the pumpkin's coming along. He's definitely not where I want him to be. I measured a couple days ago, and he's kind of around probably the 75 to 80 pound mark, which I guess is all right for probably a Walmart seed, people would say. But I mean, I was expecting a lot more. He really kind of ballooned up there at first, and then the heat set in. I don't know how long it's been since we had an actual rain. It's been a few weeks, but he ballooned up, and then he's kind of just sat around this size. At least it seems like to me. If you watch my last video, you can definitely tell that there's a size difference, but not the size difference that I was hoping for. So gonna keep plugging away at him, still fertilizing. I've went to like a little richer mixture on my potassium, trying to grow the fruit itself, but I'm not seeing quite the results that I expected. I know a lot of people want me to cut this leaf since it's the one that's attached close there to the pumpkin. I probably will. I told you in the last one I would. I've waited. Like I said, he didn't put on the growth I expected. I thought when he'd really start pushing, I'd cut it. You can see the injury there that it's having. So whenever it starts going downhill a little more, starting to be a little more degraded, then I'll definitely cut it off. So it will be gone. I'm just letting it work for me and letting it try and put as much energy and help that pumpkin grow as much as it can. So when I measured it the other day, it was 57 inches around, and then I believe it was 42 over the top and 43 over the side. So I think that comes out to like 72. I'd say it's bumped up a little bit more than that. So it could be lighter. I know that those charts aren't always the most accurate when they're a smaller pumpkin, but I really think we can get this to a couple 100 pounds. We got a lot of season left, as long as we can keep this big old plant healthy. And that's going to be my main battle right now. And the only things that I can think to do are hit it with more nitrogen and just keep booking the water to it. So that's what we're going to do for now, unless I can come up with something different. If you have more ideas, let me know. I'd appreciate it. This is, of course, my first time. I know I'm not using the greatest pumpkin seed, but I thought I was doing fairly well with what I had going. So we're gonna keep plugging along, get that pumpkin dried off whenever the water stops, and then we'll get him covered back up and carry on, try and beat the heat somehow. Again, not a lot to say. Pumpkin speaks for itself. You can obviously see there's some issues going on with the plant itself and its health, which is ultimately affecting the pumpkin size. This is where my novice growers, like, very obvious to the public. So I'd appreciate any help, any thoughts, something that I've overlooked, completely didn't think about. I'd appreciate it. I'll take anybody's advice. But until next week, I'll bring you along then, and we'll see if we've had any more improvements. So for now, leave me the comments down below. Maybe it's something I can implement in the next week, and we'll try and get this little Walmart pumpkin up to his full size, hopefully his full potential, and just see how big we can get him. Until next time, bye-bye.